Hello, human beings of the internet, and welcome back to the third season of the Immaterial Gamers Fantasy League. The league may have been away since September last year, but competitive League of Legends rolled on, and we got to the end of Worlds at the end of October, with Korean team Damwon Gaming cementing themselves as the best team in the world. However, we are now in 2021, and there were some big changes to the 11th season of League of Legends, with an overhaul of the item system, and some other little bits, like the entire rebranding of a team from Origin to Astralis, and a slew of roster swaps in the professional game. So it's time to get back into watching competitive League of Legends, and for us to bring back our big prediction tournament. As per the last two fantasy leagues, we will be using the Premier League of European LoL, the League of Legends European Championship, or LEC for short. A lot better that way. Why? Well, let me give you a 2-point reminder. Number one, Immaterial Gamers are primarily based in Europe, so it makes sense to use the league we can watch at a normal time as our base. Number two, the LEC is arguably the most entertaining of the leagues out there, providing the best combination of information and excitement when it comes down to the game. Also, the production is, well, just look at this. Does that prove my point? Anywho, back to the Fantasy League itself, and whilst the rules and format is mostly the same, it is worth giving a refresher for everyone as to how we will do this. The league will take place over the spring season of the LEC, which includes the regular season and the playoffs, and will be split into 3 rounds. And there'll be 7 of us taking on the tournament this time. Down from the 9, but higher than the 4. It works out. Round 1 will take place entirely over the regular season, and is 8 game weeks. And after that ends, the top 4 scorers will move on to round 2. That takes place during rounds 1 and 2 of the playoffs, which is the winners and losers brackets up to the semi-finals. And the lowest scorer of each round's games, lasting a week, will exit the competition. Finally, round 3 will take place during the semi-finals and finals of the spring playoffs, with the last 2 players battling it out to win the Fantasy League trophy. Now, we'll get a bit in-depth into how round 1 will work this season. Every player will be given matches for each game week, which will go between 10 and 15 games a week. And for each matchup, they will predict which team will achieve the following 6 objectives. Get first blood, the first takedown in the match. Slay the first dragon, or drake, they're interchangeable. Obtain the first Eye of the Herald from the aptly named Rift Herald. Destroy the first tower, or turret, again, interchangeable. Slay the first Baron Nashor, big beefy purple dude in the river. And finally, win the match. Each correct prediction is worth 1 point, meaning each match is worth 6 points. So per day, that's 30 points, potentially to win. We do have a rule change this season though, and it is a big one. Prior to this season, each player would choose a team to represent, and every time that team won, they would get 5 points, and they were called team win points. This season, no, that's not happening. Only predictions count. So we have the rules. Now, it's for the players. First up, the champ, D. After winning Season 2 by a single point, it's time for them to defend the trophy, but who else will they be defending it against? Could Darius steal it? the wildcard entrant who was one of the non-league players to give the tournament his all? Or could it be Duncan, last season's runner-up? His strategy nearly got him the trophy after all. Maybe it'll be Martin, whose measured approach nearly got him through to round 2. And then there's myself, looking to better my 4th place performance from last time. Possibly it could be Stefan, who, even though he was aiming for the bottom, did put in a shockingly good showing. And finally, there is Terry, who did shock us all by placing 3rd by what could only be described as coin flipping the entire season. So, that's the players. And before we get down to the week 1 rundown, we'll just fly through the predictions for the first Super Week of the season. Oh, first up, there's D's predictions. A lot of it favouring the favourites from last year. And a lot of G2 wins. A lot of Fnatic wins. A couple of odd ones in there, but generally balanced all the way through. But a lot of sweeps. And then there's Darius and Duncan, who put a lot more favour into games like XL, beating Schalke, and G2 coming on top against Mad. And then there's Martin and me. Again, predictions wildly all over, but again favouring the top teams from last year. And then finally, Stefan and Terry, whose predictions look almost the same, minus a couple of changes to the Misfits versus Fnatic match. Oh, now the first rundown of Season 3 of the Fantasy League. Okay, let's get this going. Friday, Game 1, G2 versus Mad Lions. The big match. And, well, G2 left themselves open early and gave away a first blood to Mad Lions, whereas Herald was easily taken later on in the game. Dragon ended up the way of G2, pretty much uncontested, and that Rift Herald from Mad Lions then took the first tower of the game. A sort of easy Baron by G2 and a kill streak of epic proportions led them to winning the first game of the LEC. Game 2. New Astralis versus established SK, and, well, Astralis started good, ended up with the first dragon of the game before even a single kill was made. Though a fight at Herald led to the first blood going the way of SK Gaming, and then good old Herald got taken down not long after, though Astralis did try. Little spear nearly took it. Though, even with the Herald, Astralis ended up with the first tower. Not long after SK took that mid one, but then teamfight, Baron, SK, endgame, Rar, destroy stuff, fight at Fountain, destroy Nexus. Game 3 though, and it was Rogue versus the new logo of XL. I mean, that's a bit unfair. Rogue also got a new logo, but just remove the word Rogue. Anyway, Dragon went XL's way, but First Blood went Rogue's, catching out cries in between two towers. It was inevitable. Herald, comfortably taken by Rogue's inspired after a while. Then First Tower was also taken while XL tried to get a gank at the bottom tower. Baron easily taken by Rogue while just splitting the mid lane, and then they eventually destroyed XL and won the game. Game 4, Team Vitality versus Schalke Nordfear, and First Blood went the way of the little winged ones, eventually, as did the Herald. Skins just took his time and it was all sorted. Dragon did go the way of Schalke a bit late on in the game. This is still only at 1 kill, and it only got to 1 all by the time the first tower took a nice Herald bomb. But Baron did get stolen from Schalke. But they did take it back a little bit later on in the game by taking the nice dragon. But this split screen of Vitality just misreading the whole take the Elder Drake situation led Schalke to just waltz into their base and take a Nexus and get themselves their first win of the season. Final game of the day was Misfits versus Fnatic, and well, Misfits were humbling Fnatic here with a nice first blood at the beginning of the game, and then our first pause of the season. Fnatic did end up with the first dragon, but then Herald went Misfits' way in the middle of moving people away. Tower also ended up Misfits, and then there was this great play by rookie VTO, just owning with Zoe, giving no shits, and then proceeding to take the Baron while Fnatic tried to fight and got themselves their first win, which was a bit of a shocker. But that was one day. Let's move on to Saturday, where it was Schalke Nordvia's time to shine against XL. Not that it was easy. First blood went XL's way. Dragon was held off for Schalke to get, so XL went and just took Shelly the Herald instead. And while Schalke were taking a dragon, it was used against their mid lane turret. Baron did go the way of the blue team though, and for the next Baron, there was this giant cluster of characters and damage and things falling apart, but there were minions in XL's base, an inhibitor was taken, and after a shocking Baron, XL got the win. So, it was Misfits' turn to take on Vitality for Saturday's Game 2, and First Blood went the way of Vitality, but the Herald was stolen by Misfits in that team fight. Vitality decided, right, you know what, screw it, let's go and take on a dragon instead, which they did. And Misfits used the Herald to nearly take a tower, and a nice team fight happened under it, only for about 30 seconds later for that tower to be taken again. I mean, let's be fair, it had 2 hits left, and those 2 hits just went down. So, Baron, taken by Vitality. Could they close out the game? Answer, yes. They did, and got themselves 1-1 for the week so far. Game 3, and it was Mad Lion's turn to take on Astralis. Well, the red team ended up with a red dragon first and got it. But First Blood went to the Spanish team, as did the Herald. Not that Astralis didn't try to fight for it, they just decided it was better not to. But the first tower of the game ended up Mad Lion's way after the Herald, and so did the Baron after a nice fight leaving 3 of Astralis' members down, and that Baron was used to win the game. Game 4, SK and G2. Now G2 had a strong start, but they gave away First Blood again, this time to SK. and Herald was just gifted. It was easy enough. Dragon, though. Inferno Drake did go to G2. Jankos and Wonders Ivern, because Ivern is something that's being played at the moment, took that, but Tower did go SK's way with Herald. Later on in the game, a Baron fight sort of happened while SK were trying to rampage up the mid lane, but it didn't work, and G2 ended up 2-0. Now, Game 5, the game of the week, Fnatic versus Rogue. They lost once, they couldn't lose again, could they? Well, wrong. Rogue just swept over them. It was easy. First blood. Dragon. Just do it in the middle of a team fight. It's easy enough. Take the Herald while they're at it. Just leave Whippo just not being able to do anything. Just take a tower while in the middle of a jungle. Oh, there we go. Hi, Herald. And then a Baron fight while this team fight had happened. That was why it had happened. And Rogue got themselves 2-0, and Fnatic 0-2 for the first time in a while. Anyway, 1 day left, Sunday. And now it was Astralis' turn to take on Vitality. Who would get this? Well, could it be Vitality with their first dragon of the game? Could it be Astralis with this first blood that really should have happened earlier? Well, who knows, but the Herald was taken by Vitality in the middle of all this gameplay, and later on in the game was used to take out the top tower, the first tower. Then this Baron fight happened, and Vitality just, took it out, but didn't use it properly, as Astralis came back and won. Now it was Rogue's turn to take on SK. Could they get a 3-0? Well, you'd think with the first blood just given away within the first 2 minutes of the game, probably not. Especially when the bottom side of the map was then dominated by SK, leading them to the first dragon. Now, Rogue had to team fight in order to get the Herald, and I was keeping an eye to make sure they got the eye, because if they didn't, it didn't count. But they eventually did, Inspired picked it up. First tower did go Rogue's way as well. For some reason, Spectate was on the bottom tower. And then the Baron. Well, not much SK could do with only one player up, and it showed it. Rogue got their 3-0 week and ended up at the top. So, Sunday, Game 3, Misfits versus Mad Lions. And, well, Mad Lions had a good start. They got a first blood. Dragon ended up Misfits' way though. Razork just given all that time to take on that Earth Dragon. Herald was taken by Mad Lions. Yeah. And then the tower was taken not long after. But it came to another team fight that didn't work for Mad Lions, as Misfits got that all-important first Baron. And then a few Barons later did get the win from under Mad. Game 4, it's Fnatic versus Schalke. Fnatic couldn't go 0-3, right? No, they couldn't. First blood went Fnatic's way along with a dragon. A nice Inferno Drake. A lot of Inferno Drakes for first dragon this week. Herald also went Fnatic's way. And if I believe right, if my commentary is correct, this was a sweep for Fnatic. I don't want to keep just saying their team name, but that's all it's come up. They sort of dominated, even if the kills were low up to the point where that Baron got taken. I mean, it was still pretty low by the time they took their red Nexus. So, Fnatic got a win. Our last game of the week is XL versus G2. G2 also looking for a 3-0 week. but Dragon went to XL, while First Blood did go the way of the Samurai team. Eventually. Not without XL getting a reply, but in one of these split screen moments, we watched G2 get sort of 2 kills at 2 different lanes, and XL did pick up a Herald in the middle of that. Just trust me, it happened. There's no other proof. It's just there. Tower did go G2's way eventually, so it came down to a Baron fight a lot later in the game, and again another split screen moment. G2 just read the better play and got the 3-0. XL 1 and 2, but it's fine. So, standings. There we go, that's week 1 done. And here are your standings, with Duncan topping the league at 59 points, but with only 12 points between first and last. Can he do better? Can he open the lead up further in week 2? You'll have to find out next week. So until then, we'll see you then.